That should be our standby. Is
Bluetooth disconnected.
We're not going to start out with a heyo on this episode.
Okay.
We're going to start out with some other stuff. But yeah, no heyo for this episode to start out. Sorry, Justin, but you're a repeat offender of Bass and Brews. So you don't get the new guy experience.
Oh, hey everybody. Anyways, welcome to Bass and Brews, your weekly distraction from high quality podcasts.
When you say anyways, you're just like,
what the other guy said doesn't matter.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, no, hey everybody. Hey, so if you listen to last week's show, you'll see that a streak was finally broken. Paul and I have put out an episode every Friday, brand spanking new episode for 3.5 years. Unfortunately, due to the storms that kind of ravaged through portions of the country, we had issues with a couple of guests and getting them on the show. I hope you guys enjoyed that legacy episode with Nate Shagden. It was one of the episodes personally for me where I was like, oh shit, we could do something really cool with this. Like tell some like real life fisherman stories and not just be,
was that episode 2?
No, it was episode 5, if I remember. So okay. It's prior to Paul.
Yeah, I think that was my first episode I ever listened to was the Nate episode.
Yep.
Didn't y'all each drink like a fifth of bourbon?
Well, we both bought a full bottle of Jameson.
Not together.
No, yeah. We each bought a bottle of Jameson, and by the time we got during the recording, because mind you, this is like when I had the strict 1 hour rule, we were already halfway through that bottle, and then we went and chit-chatted in the green room and finished the whole thing at that point. But he's got a really cool story. It was awesome. It was kind of crazy when I was like uploading. I'm like, holy shit, that was so fucking long ago. So again, we apologize for no new episode, but that legacy episode is amazing. Make sure you enjoy that. If you want more of Bass and Brews, make sure to check out www.patreon.com/Bass and Brews. Sign up, become a brewski, a producer of the show, and that'll give you access to Last Call with Alex and Paul, and you'll have a chance to win Paul's shit. So I will actually, I think it's already confirmed. So October, we're recording the day before we do Last Call, but the November Last Call, you're going to win Paul's shit, but it's going to be a little different. We've got it sponsored by a bait company who is going to send Paul some stuff, and instead they're going to send you shit. So make sure to sign up, patreon.com/Bass and Brews.
Have you sent the shit out?
No, it's going to go in the mail tomorrow. No, it's going to go in the mail tomorrow.
No, it's not. You fucking
yes,
lie.
it is. I actually haven't. No.
I told y'all. I told y'all weren't getting a fucking thing from Alex.
No, Amanda brought me shipping bags today. So after we record, I have to put them in bags, and she's going to take them to work. So
I'm in good company. My my electronics have been messed up for a while because I instead of putting it like in the case like you should, I set it in my kayak seat in the back of the car. Completely forgot about it the next morning. Pull it out. Screen's all busted. Anyway, the whole reason I bring it up is because I've had that thing sitting, I think, in my car for 2 weeks now in the box with the label. All I have to do is tape it on there and like actually
it's too much. Listen, when you're a busy man, it's too much.
I understand that from you, Justin.
Whoa.
Alex's wife goes to the fucking post office every day of the week. She is a postal carrier. She literally
goes
to the fucking post office. All he has to do when he hands her lunchbox and gives her a kiss goodbye, all he has to do is set a couple packages on top of her lunchbox that's in her arms to take it away.
Well, I'm a busy man.
He has no excuse.
I've got tons of excuses.
Fucking laziness. Anyway,
all right.
It's crazy.
That's my excuse too.
And if you're listening to the podcast and you didn't catch Last Call with Alex and Paul last week, you need to get on that. It's a good time.
Last month.
Nothing like
no, last week. Yeah.
Last week, yeah. Shut up.
Oh, shit, the
Last
future.
week was last month.
No,
Oh, shit.
no,
Oh,
not when
fuck.
this podcast airs.
Oh, yeah, not when this
Last
airs,
week
but
was
maybe
the
it
first
is.
week of this month.
Well,
Justin, don't
Maybe-
come on here and try to be a
Sorry,
podcast host on our podcast. You don't know our fucking ins and outs.
Well,
You're
before
right.
we get to Justin, Paul, you've got some you got a pretty serious
Yeah,
announcement and then a
we got a
pretty
couple
fun
things.
announcement.
So, we have a ton of listeners in the Southeast. We have listeners all over the country. By now, I'm sure most people have heard that we have Hurricane Helene came up and devastated the western part of North Carolina, northern South Carolina, eastern Tennessee. Western North Carolina is devastated. There are towns that are gone. They may never exist again. It is a catastrophic event. It's bad. There's no other way to put it besides it's bad. And one of our past guests, Dustin, Hands On Adventures, who we lovingly refer to as Hand Job Adventures.
That's Hand Job Adventures. Best
Yep.
videos out there. Google it, but make sure
Yep.
your smart filter's on.
Google Hands On Adventures. Don't Google Hand Job Adventures.
Hands on
Get
Hand
me
Jobs
wrong.
Adventures.
Dustin is from Buncombe County, North Carolina, Asheville. He lives right outside of Asheville. He's been boots on the ground helping people since Sunday. And his company that he works for, they've been out doing stuff. They're a place, so you can't mail anything into these areas. The roads are washed out. There are areas completely cut off from the world. No cell service, no radio, no power, no roads. They're having to fix shit just to get into these people. The only access, even still, to some of these areas is by air, helicopters. But he's in Asheville. Asheville was hit pretty bad in that surrounding area. But I've been talking to Dustin a lot. He's been, again, boots on the ground. But I know this is coming out a week after I talked to him, but we want to put out information that folks can use to help, especially if you're quote unquote local. I live in Holly Springs, about 3.5 hours, 4 hours from Asheville. We have places locally we can take water, canned goods, non-perishable items, toilet paper, stuff like that. Stuff that people need, and you can drop it off, and they're taking it there. But if you have the opportunity to take a truckload or anything like that, you're not going to be able to get into certain areas. They have it closed off because they don't want people in there just looky-loos and shit like that. So they have certain areas that you can drop stuff off. Dustin's in that Asheville area, and on the ticker, and we'll read it out to the folks who are just listening. On the ticker, we'll give you the address. You can take stuff to this location, drop it off, and then they can take it to the warehouse. If you have a box truck of shit that you're bringing, then they can help you get it to the warehouse where they are. That address is 123 Sweeten Creek Road, Suite A in Asheville, North Carolina. Sweeten is Sweeten. 123 Sweeten Creek Road, Suite A, Asheville, North Carolina. If you are within driving distance and you want to take some stuff, that is one of the drop-off points that you can take supplies and drop off, and they can get it out there. If you cannot drive there, you can't ship shit there, there's in North Carolina, there's tons of places that are collecting donations that they will put on there and get out to those folks. Also, a couple of things that Dustin told me today is there's at the same location, they have a reverse osmosis water system set up with a little pool so you can get drinking water there. They have that there. Also, and that's the water mission is what that's called, where they have that set up at that location. Also, Haywood County, North Carolina, Pisgah High School is also another drop off and pickup point. So if you are closer to Pisgah High School in Haywood County, you can take stuff there as well. The drop off points are important because they're not going to let the folks that are not actively involved in the search and rescue. That's where they are right now. They're in search and rescue. The drop off points are where you need to take stuff. Otherwise, find somewhere local that are drop off points that are taking stuff there, because everything is getting dropped off and then it gets put out to where it needs to go. So those two locations, we'll do it again. 123 Sweeten Creek Road, Suite A, Asheville, North Carolina is a drop off point. Haywood County, you have Pisgah High School is a drop off point. And the 123 Sweeten Creek Road location has reverse osmosis. I understand the majority of people who might hear this are not in the affected areas. This is for folks who want to bring or take stuff there. This is also for the folks who might have friends or family who are looking for supplies. Dustin and his small group of people are helping folks buy gas, because everything out there right now is cash only. There's not a lot of electricity. Pretty much all the cell service is coming from Starlink. There's no cell service yet. They are getting electricity back up. But if you have friends or family that are looking for places to go get supplies, these two places are where they can go if they can make it there, if they're in drivable distance and can make it. So those two things. If you want to help right now, find a local drop-off center. If you want to bring a load of stuff up, there's a bunch of other locations. We don't have those. I'm in direct contact with Dustin, and so these are the locations that he gave me. If you want to help, those are the two ways you can help right now. I will say this: donating money is great, but please know who and what you're donating that money to. A lot of people are going to not. Some people are going to take advantage of this situation with money donations. Money right now in these areas, cash, Venmo, PayPal, Apple Cash, that shit is useless. If you want to donate money, I would say hold off right now until they get the opportunity to get stuff up and running where people can pay with stuff besides cash. Right now, the biggest thing they need are going to be water, food, toiletries, and probably clothes. Those are the things that they need right now. You can take it to these drop-off points. You can find some other drop-off points. Find drop-off points in your local neighborhoods and do that. But right now, water, food, toiletries. That's what they're going to need.
So props to everybody out there. Hang in there. Hopefully we can all rally around these folks and make sure everybody's taken care of.
Yep, that's the last thing Dustin left with me was that he's proud of the community that he's in. The amount of people in the community that have been out. I mean, he was out on Sunday, and that was, some of the first boots on the ground. He was very proud of his community and how they came together. And if y'all know Dustin, he has intermittent cell service because he's out during the day, comes back in at night, might have some. He said he wanted to apologize for not posting a lot of content, and I told him you don't have to apologize for that shit.
Fuck
we understand.
That. Yeah.
But hands-on adventures, Dustin.
Yep.
Follow him. He's doing some updates on his stuff like that. But he's out there working. There's a ton of people out there working. I'm just directly in contact with Dustin.
Yep.
So that's the information that I have. That's what we want to relay to. And I want to say for all the folks that I know, all of our Queen City folks, there's a lot of folks out there that were affected by this stuff. We love you, and we, just keep plugging along. There's not much to say, so I'm good. Yeah.
All right. Hey, so to follow that, Justin, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
It's a heavy moment that we then transition into you. If you guys don't know, it's been almost 2 years since Justin's been on the show. It's awesome to have him back. A lot of things have changed. What have you been up to?
Well, I don't know. I guess still a lot of fishing, but a lot of working too. And then I got the opportunity almost a year ago now to start podcast Kayak Fishing Weekly, kind of like you guys with Bailey Egbert. So that has been a fun adventure. I got to say,
Serious Angler Network, podcasting network, global wide world of fishing, ESPN.
They're basically the New York Yankees of fishing podcasts. They scalp all the talent because Bailey's a shiesty motherfucker. So he takes all the talent and he puts it under his umbrella. Because we try to get Justin his own show under the Bass and Brews Network. When I sent him the email, I misspelled network, so I think that was the dead giveaway to not be part of ours. But then he's like, listen, Bailey's offering me 6 figures, and I was like, I can't meet that. I didn't know. I didn't realize that the 6 figures were just 6 different pictures of his figure, with his big old rumpus behind.
Hey,
so
it's hard to say no to an ass like Bailey's. I mean, look. My man's got the 1999 Jennifer Lopez booty.
He's just Bailey. He's just Bailey from the block. hey, Dave. Dave the intern, if you're watching, can we get
Rock said he's got? He's just Bailey from the block.
Dave the intern, can we get a meme of Bailey's head on top of J-Lo's body? That'd be wonderful, please.
We're gonna get it.
So that's cool. That's cool though. Like, you finally stepped in, it hits at a point in a person's life, where they just have to start. We can wait till the end, Paul. Stop.
No,
where
time's out. I got to do it now because I'm not going to be able to do it.
We did the whole intro. See, this is why Justin went to the Serious Angler Network.
No, you just said it was because you misspelled network. You wanted to go to a real podcast.
Go.
Weight loss journey. I'm officially down 25 pounds. My face looks better. I feel better.
That's awesome, Paul. Proud of you, big guy. I really am proud of you.
I don't know, for all the folks that have gained a lot of weight that are men, and this is a man thing. Your little pecker likes to go into his turtle shell a lot, and that's very uncomfortable. Yeah. And sometimes it's hard. It's really hard to get out. And I'm like, my little turtle's not hibernating as much now. It's really awesome. I went from being my pecker being a box turtle to being more like a snapping turtle. It can't go into its shell, and I'm very happy about that. It's not gotten any bigger, but at least it doesn't hide as much now.
That's very well said.
It is. I think all weight loss journeys should now be measured by your turtle pecker. It should be like, how much are you a box turtle still, bro? Or are you a snapper?
What's the other one? Alligators?
Oh,
Snaps?
yeah,
like
alligator.
Yeah, the alligator snapping turtle. That's a whole different pecker size there. That's way outside of my realm. But yeah,
probably. We could probably all say the same thing.
Alligator snapping turtle. Similar species. I'm not anywhere near.
Okay, quit rambling about that. All right. Anyway, super proud of you, Paul. Good job. And keep going, because remember, it's a journey. Right now, you're not obese, but you're still a fat fuck. So let's get you from obese to fat fuck to just fat, and then maybe to dad bod.
I've got I've got the dad bod. And that's the problem.
No, you don't. You don't.
No, I do. Don't make me.
You're
take
bigger.
My shirt off.
You're bigger. No, we already saw it last year.
But I'm 25 pounds less. People need
save it. Save it for the end of the year kegger.
I've got 40 pounds left to go. Is the goal. My goal was to lose 30 by the end of the year. You're gonna get it. My end goal is 40 pounds. That I have lost 200 or 100. Oh, damn. Goddamn, I'm trying to make myself look like anyway. My goal is 65 pounds.
There we go.
The day I hit that 40, I'm going to get a Little Caesars Meat Lovers Pizza, and I'm eating that whole bitch by myself. I'm probably going to throw up afterwards, but I'm definitely going to do that. And then the next day, I'm eating the biggest bowl of spaghetti. I'm going to cook a whole pot of fucking spaghetti and not share any of it with my family. I'm just going to
sit in the tub. Just sit in the tub with it.
Dude,
You know
you're
what? That's
quite
a
the
good
cook
ass
too.
idea.
He is.
I've been seeing those reels on Instagram. That's some tasty looking stuff. I can't cook. I like that.
Hey man, it's easy. It's easy. Anything you want to cook, there's a few ingredients you always add in. And then from there, you can do whatever you want to do. Celery, carrots, bell peppers, onion. Those 4 things, chop them up. Not fine, but give them a little chop. That's your base. Sweat them out. And then from there, the world is your oyster.
Well,
anything you want.
And actually, Justin, his weight loss secret is a lip full of beef jerky chew. That's been the key. Is this obese? I'm sorry, correction, not obese. This fat fuck is still just freebasing beef jerky in his mouth.
Nope, not since you got me on the Zen. The Zen.
All right, good
shit.
All right. Well, we switched from
from
lard and fat to nicotine. Great transition, Paul.
Look, the Zen's awesome, and you told me to get the citrus to start off with, and I did, and that shit's terrible. And then I went to peppermint, and it was okay. I have fallen in love. Nope, I've fallen in love with spearmint.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Did you try the coffee in the morning? The coffee pouches?
I did try the coffee.
Yeah.
It did not taste like coffee. It was too sweet. It tasted like a Starbucks macchiato, which is full of sugar and caramel. I was not a fan of that.
Okay.
I was not a fan. The spearmint, I like. It makes my Duke smell good too.
Oh, you're not supposed to swallow the fucking pouch, you fat fuck. You're eating them.
I don't swallow the
You're
pouch.
eating the fucking pouches, you fat fuck. No wonder you're losing weight.
Ooh, I would never swallow a pouch.
Have you accidentally? Oh, hold on, Justin. Do you partake in the Zamboni at all, or no?
But it's like you use it like dip. Is that the deal?
Yeah.
Yep. And then you don't have to spit it.
Okay, so it dissolves.
No, it's like a cloth pouch that has nicotine salt in it. So you'll get the nicotine, but none of the tobacco or fiberglass. Paul's showing it up, but you don't have to spit it. And then when you're done with it, you spit the pouch out, but you don't have to have
any of the cancer-creating activities in it. There's no tobacco involved.
Right. So it's like chewing gum. You get all the flavor out of it, and then just
Yep, that's it.
And matter of fact, it's a great example of the striped gum.
Yeah, that was it. Rainbow stripe.
Zebra.
Rainbow stripe. That shit only held flavor for 5 chews.
Look. Yes, exactly. This is about what this shit is. Like, I'll have 4 or 5 in at a time.
Jesus.
My head's spinning. Oh, it makes you feel good. Look, if you're trying to quit drinking too, just get you some Zen. Put 3 or 4 pouches in. That shit'll take you out the fucking
you'll get real
space
dizzy
for about 4 days.
You'll run into the wall, knock yourself out, and you don't need beer. You're asleep at that point. You're good to go.
You might want to make sure you don't have any high blood pressure, because I think that shit fucks with your blood pressure too.
I think it does. But you haven't really used the Zambonis, the old upper lippers, until you've accidentally fallen asleep with one in and then woke up and went, oh shit, where the fuck is it? And you can't find it on your pillow. And that's when you realize you swallowed that motherfucker at some point in the night. That's all right.
You gotta put it in the upper lip so it holds on. But anyway, we've talked about enough of this shit.
Okay.
We got Justin Large.
We do. Large and in charge.
Last time, no, he's not large. He's a small fella.
I know.
He's a nice fella, but he's a little small. He's skinny.
He's gotten fatter since he was on our show.
I have.
Yeah. It happens.
When we had him on, he was wrecking it in bass. I think you were like second in bass that year.
Yeah, it was a good year.
I think so. Yeah, we had you on because of that. And then he did a lot of fishing and started podcasting. And now he's not as good of an angler. And as Alex and I know, podcasting fucks up your fishing to no end. It really does.
I appreciate you giving me that out. That's exactly what I'm going to blame it on. It's the podcasting.
Yep.
It's all Bailey's fault. If I hadn't started doing this with this mic, it's all.
Listen, if he
Bailey
wouldn't have tempted
out
you,
the competition.
That's what it was.
How can I fuck up Justin without like hurting him or doing something nefarious to his equipment? Let's bring him on and make him record a podcast. And put him on a schedule and make sure that his times recording interfere with his fishing time. That's how Bailey takes out the competition.
It's either that or he takes him out with that massive badonkadonk that he has. So it's
box him out. Box him out.
Exactly. Oh, dude, Bailey's boxing out whole divisions, not one person. Those cakes are taking out all of Hobie, all of Bass. He's carving his own line. He's like the Mississippi River of ass. It is so big. It is cutting, just carving through, making its way.
Bailey's the donkey of kayak fishing. He's just out there fucking kicking people like a damn jackass.
Dude, I imagine, I'm trying to remember. I ran into him on the water at Santee a couple years. Literally? Was it last year? No, I mean, I didn't collide with him, but we were fishing the same area. And I think he was running the motor, but I have heard that he can get some speed.
Yeah.
Pedaling that kayak.
Not looked at his butt.
It's huge.
That's what I'm saying, man.
It's hard to miss.
He texted me. He texted me. He's unveiling a new boat next year that he's working with Hobie. It's actually going to fit him and then a second boat for his ass. So he should be able to distribute the weight more. So that'll be good for Bailey.
Extra wide seat.
It's a Hobie. It's a PA, and then for his ass is actually a Titan. They collabed to be able to fit everything all in one. So it's going to be called the Bailey Edition Tugboat. He's going to do ads. He's like, hey, this is Bailey from Serious Angler. Are you one of those big booty boys like me? Listen, I've got the boat for you.
I love how Bailey's getting dragged on this fucking episode. He's nowhere being able to, but
he won't listen either. He won't listen, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, he'll listen to this after we spam him with, hey, folks, you got to listen. Justin was talking.
Hey, so big booty boy.
I'm going to get fired.
He's not going to fire you. He does not want you to do good in kayak tournaments. So he's going to keep you on. You're going to get reprimanded.
He doesn't have to worry. I didn't qualify for anything. No TOC, no Bassmaster.
Hey, you know what? Neither did Alex nor I.
Didn't I? Yeah, it's a podcast thing. That's the issue. It's. I would be a great competitive kayak angler, but I have so much to do with the podcast. I just can't get to it. You know what I mean?
That is kind of true because Alex does 99% of the work, as we talk about a lot, and I do all the fishing, and I don't even record my fishing ship for Alex to put it out for the podcast.
Exactly. Instead, he puts out fucking cooking videos, so it's great.
They're pretty juicy, though. I mean,
dude, they're great. I would love for him to put any kind of effort into the actual Bass and Brews channel. That'd be fucking awesome.
Bass and Brews doesn't care about cooking. It doesn't care about me driving down the road.
We don't care about fishing either, Paul. Have you not fucking listened to our show?
But if we start doing all those videos on Bass and Brews, it'd be like the podcast the last 3 months where people quit listening.
No, they didn't quit. Yeah, they maybe. That's all right. We're still gonna get weirder. But anyway, so Justin, the tournament angling it's slowed down a little bit for you.
Yeah.
Are you still out fishing all the time though?
Yeah, every chance I get.
Okay.
I spent a lot of time this year chasing smallmouth, which I won't say it's not like I didn't fish for them before, but I felt like even my Outback's pretty versatile. I feel like you can do a lot with it, but some of the little tiny creeks that I like to get in, especially like summer months, it's low flow, and I'm almost always going upstream. So like going upstream, wading, dragging, like I wanted something little. I picked up a little tiny ultralight a couple years ago.
And it's upstream on the low flow. I love it. It's the best.
Listen, he's got to yank that thing up there.
It's a whole lot easier to do with a little 10-foot versus a 12. But yeah, I've had fun with the little ones, the smallmouth.
What?
So you just started targeting them more than what you were doing. So going into the creek, and you're in Virginia. You still in Virginia?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So you're in Virginia. You're kind of in that western side, not far west Virginia. So you do have some good smallmouth areas to go up there and catch some.
James River, New River, not too far from either. And there's some other sneakier places. But yeah, there's a lot of good smallmouth water, and it's, I don't know.
What are those? What are those sneaky places? Can you here just give me the coordinates? Text them to me, and I'll put them up on that ticker down below.
Yeah, let me. Where's my phone? But yeah, I've had fun doing that because I definitely have had to cut back on the tournaments because there's unless your name is like Russ Snyder's or maybe Christine Fisher, it's pretty hard to make money kayak fishing. And I had some money salted away, and for 3 years I donated it.
Yeah, I was about to say, because when you were last on the show, you were full-time fishing, correct?
I was.
Yeah,
and it's not like I was actually making money.
Right.
I mean, I had some winnings, but there was a whole lot more expenditure than there was money coming in.
Well, that's fucking fishing, man. That's from the local tournament kayak trails all the way up to the elites in MLF. I mean, if you want to tournament fish, you're gonna spend money. You gotta spend money to get there. You gotta spend money to stay. You gotta spend money to practice. You gotta spend money to buy your shit. You gotta spend money for the entry fees. Fishing ain't for the weak of heart or poor people.
No, it made me feel a lot better once I started seeing, like, not that I was rooting for these guys to fail or anything, but when I started seeing some of the elite guys, like when I saw them leave, I was like, well, damn, those guys are like doing it at the the pinnacle, and if they can't make it either, it made me feel a little bit better about not being able to hack it, on the kayak scene myself.
There's a whole bunch of sponsors dropping out of these major bass boat tournaments, and this isn't even our,
what was the tire company?
Continental Tire
left? Was it Continental Tire just left? Yeah.
That's a lot of money that's leaving, competitive fishing, and I don't know. I think it'll be good. I hope they lower some things, make it more affordable for folks to where everybody can do this instead of just,
Yeah, I mean, it's insane. I remember even boats, like part of why I kayak fish is because I can't afford a boat. I mean,
fuck no, they're as much as a house in a lot of places.
Yeah,
like $100,000 for a damn entry. Well, 85 grand for a fucking entry level boat with a 250 and basic graphs.
That's like 4 of my Subaru Foresters.
I mean, it's hard to justify that. Especially when you don't own a home. It's like I can't own a bass boat when I don't own a home.
Right?
It's just
right.
It doesn't make any sense. But kayak, it's a little easier to justify.
Yeah. The kayaking side, I mean, the entry fees are high. If you're fishing the national trails, most of them are 300 to 400. I think this year was somewhere in that range. But then if you want to be competitive, you at least need to go down for a couple of days and practice. And so that means hopefully you got some buddies to grab an Airbnb or you're camping and doing shit like that. I mean, for the most part, you're going to look at, if you go down for a tournament and you want to practice and you'll be competitive, you're going to spend $1,000 easy. And depending on where you're coming from, it might be $1,500 with fuel costs and stuff like that. So, but that's to back it up. Go ahead.
Well, that's why Russ Snyder's can do it, because all he does is he shows up, makes himself a deck, and then he just sleeps on the deck.
He's building decks at everywhere he's fishing a tournament.
Exactly.
He's getting his deck work.
Exactly.
But then he wins too.
Yeah.
Or at least
helps.
Winning helps. When you're cutting a big check at just about every tournament, there's not a whole lot of guys doing that right now. I mean, they're not to say there's not guys cutting a check, but there's a difference between, making your money back on an entry fee, and finishing top 3 or 4 and actually coming out a couple grand ahead. And that is hard to do.
But you take somebody like Bailey, who didn't fish as many national trails this year, but he fished a lot the previous couple years. He's coming from Buffalo, New York.
Well,
the majority of the shit that he's fishing is in the Southeast.
Yep.
And then Texas and Alabama. Like for him to cut a check and to win something, there's a lot more than somebody that lives in the Carolinas or Alabama or
Hold
Tennessee
on.
or somewhere
Listen,
like that.
I've given Bailey a lot of shit already on this episode, and I'm going to fucking continue. It doesn't matter how much he spends because he owns a fucking podcast network. This guy is
He does.
is the owner of the New York Yankees of pot. Yeah, he literally uses $100 bills to wipe his ass, and that's at least $5,000 for him to take a shit with an ass that big.
I know. His butt crack has got to be huge. He could probably hide acorns in that thing. But to back it up a little bit, and we're not going to dive into this because we talked about it on the podcast, and none of us know the ins and outs of this. But I will say this, going back to Continental Tire dropping out, the pool over the last 10 years now for money from sponsors has dropped significantly because of social media influencers taking, as Joe La Barbera talked about, taking that piece of pie. There ain't a lot of pie left for the anglers. And now you've got professional anglers that are having to compete with folks, and this, whoever it is, kayak, big boat, they're having to compete with the folks that are making content who are getting maybe even more money than them.
Or maybe even less if they run Bass and Brews.
Yeah, we ain't getting shit. This motherfucker costs Alex and I about $1,000 a year. But you know
That's
what?
our loss.
We do it for y'all. We do it
right.
for you, and we do it for the 5-star reviews with shitty.
Yep.
5 stars.
And you know what?
Shitty reviews.
We also keep it off of a major network like Serious Angler. Okay. I'm just joking. Hey,
Bailey.
Stay independent. That's right.
Hey, fuck that. Hey, Bailey, if you're listening, I don't want to be independent anymore. If you want to buy this motherfucker, you let me know. I will sign the paperwork. Use your ass as a shelf right there. I will make it happen.
We will sell it to you for nothing as long as we get our cut. Speaking of podcasts, though, Justin, in the 2 years since you've been on, you have started a podcast that is on Serious Angler podcast, worldwide fishing podcast network of ESPN
conglomerate.
Conglomerate institution. And tell us about the podcast, man. Who do you talk to? What do you do? What do you talk about? Because if you're on Serious Angler, you can't talk a lot of fishing because they already do that shit. So it's got to be something fairly unique.
Yeah, we try to keep it in the kayak realm, and it's not always the case. We'll venture out into some rabbit holes every once in a while or get off on a tangent, but I try to keep it in the kayak space, and I've tried to expand it a little bit. I mean, we're still a relatively young show. We don't have that many episodes under the belt, but when I first started, I was doing a lot of tournament coverage, like trying to talk to winners of tournaments and kind of what I'd seen other guys doing a lot of. And I still like to do that. I still enjoy hearing how guys figured them out and kind of crack the code, what they did differently, like what I missed.
To get some free intel. I know.
Exactly. But I also I'm trying to make it appeal more to just the everyday guy, because that's really what I am. I mean, it's like I just like to fish. I like to talk about fishing. And whether you're doing it in a tournament, like with money on the line, or just for fun, I feel like there's a whole lot more guys out there that just do it for fun or just trying to catch a few more fish, pick up some insight. So I've tried to shift a little bit, and not necessarily. We're still talking tournaments and stuff, but I'm trying to do some other things that everyone will appreciate, not just like the fish heads that that are out there competing like me.
Well, that lends to. I would say that would lend a lot towards your local tournament anglers, the guys who are fishing their local tournaments who don't practice. They get out and fun fish, spot around, once every 2 or 3 weeks. But when they have that monthly tournament in their local trail, they go out there every day. They spend their $40, $50 and then go out there and do it. And that's what I do locally. I fish national trails when they're close to me. So when they're Murray, Norman, or Santee is the only time.
That's a smart way, honestly.
Well, shit, bitch. I go to those things. I show up on Friday and I have 2 or 3 ramps in mind I want to go launch. And hopefully I get there early enough on Friday to go set up my camp spot and then go look at the ramps.
He's got to go. He's got to make sure the camp's set up. The fucking hot dogs are waiting on him. Like, he's But maybe next year with the new not so fat Paul, he can actually, prioritize that.
No, this has nothing to do
Nope.
with my overweightness. It has everything to do with my business and my wife and kids. But anyway, different story. But
yeah, I mean, I can
that
sympathize.
type of information lends to those local anglers that are going out fun fishing. But I would say because it is tournament centric still, you're still talking about how you caught them in a competitive arena. And so that's great information to have from a local side.
Yeah. And I have a lot more, and again, not that I didn't respect guys who were kind of showing up with limited practice, but I tried to take advantage of the time that I had. Like I would try to do 3 days. That was kind of like a lot of times if I did more than that, I felt like I was hurting myself more than I was helping myself. But I like getting about 3 days. If I can get 3 days of practice, I feel like I can figure something out, at least have an idea and do well. But it's totally different when you do one. I mean, it's tough. I grew up in I didn't grow up, but I lived in Northern Virginia for almost 15 years. I was up there kind of when I got into kayak fishing. So I know the Potomac pretty well. So when I could go up there, I feel like, and I still consider that home water. I feel like I could go up there with no practice and, I might not win or do great, but I'll find some fish. I kind of know what to do.
You ain't no skunk.
But like going someplace like I have the last few tournaments, even where it's someplace I've been before and I have a general idea what's going on. I'll have kind of like you, Paul, I have the idea I'm going to hit 2 different ramps and I never make it at the second ramp. Like by the time you get out there and look, the load time to get everything ready, it's hard to cover very much water and learn a whole lot in
when
6 to 8 hours.
When I say I'm going to look at ramps, I don't even put in. I'm just going to make sure I know where the ramp is and what it looks like.
Make sure the ramp's still there.
He's like, is there a bathroom? Is there a hot dog vendor?
When does it open?
There you go.
All that shit. I mean, that's literally what I'm doing. I know I'm donating money, but you never know when you might get lucky for a couple of days and make some money. But I'm literally going to the ramp to see what it looks like. Is it open? What time it opens? That shit. I'm not even getting the fish. But that's the difference in somebody who's taking it seriously or a little seriously,
right?
Versus the folks like I honestly, because of this podcast, because Alex had brought me on to this podcast.
Oh, don't blame me.
I've met Bailey.
Oh.
I've met a ton of people in the kayak fishing world. I honestly just go down there to camp and hang out with buddies and to meet and talk to people that have been on the podcast or who I interact with on social media. For me, it's a social event. It's an expensive motherfucking social event, but it is a social event that I go to, and it's a new place to go fish. And I always have the mindset that you just never know what's going to happen. So, I want to catch fish and I try, but for me, it's the socializing part of it, to be able to go and actually meet people in person, which I've luckily been able to do the last few years. I mean, Bailey and I camped 3 years ago at Santee for a few days. That was great. And we had some others.
Yeah.
That's where I met our good friend Shipwreck. So Darren Schwinkbeck. And so it's just been, that's my side of it. On that, but the local trails, I don't get much practice. Usually I just show up on the day of and I fucking look for points, brush piles, and some bullshit like that and see what happens.
Hey, this just came to me. Justin, I got a question. I'm going to start with you first on this. So you know how a lot of these tournaments, especially the boat ones, they do their weigh in, they're dumping the fish back in, right? Do you think when those fish hit the water, there's like other residential fish who are just like, what the fuck? Who the fuck are you? I know everybody on this block. And here you come in with this weird fucking herpy on your lip talking about how somebody pulled you from the sky and ripped you out of the water. Like, do you think those fish are like ostracized? What do you think, Justin?
Spell ostracize.
F you.
That's perfect. That's a really good question. I never thought about it, but I feel like they gotta be.
Yeah.
Or do the other fish just leave because they're like, oh man, these weird guys just moved into town. We're out of here.
Oh, that could be it, right?
Now it's their turf. They
yeah,
own
but I
that
feel
ramp now.
like, do you think they all talk together? Like, yo, did this happen to you? And they just become like this really weird group of people that got abducted. It's like basically if you took like a large portion of the state of Kentucky, you know, all the weird ones that got abducted somehow on a Saturday when they left their local cantina, and you just put them all in one fucking town. And they're just sitting there rambling. I got taken. I got taken too, Billy Bob. You think that's the whole thing where these fish are just losing their minds?
Oh my God,
Like
this
a
is the greatest analogy ever on this podcast is fish getting released at the ramp.
Yeah.
Somebody and all the weirdos getting abducted by aliens get put in the same place and they have a
That's the same one.
conversation about what
Also,
happened.
do you think they're just as degenerate as the people that get abducted by aliens from us? Like, it's never like the CEO of a hardworking company. It's always like some dude who's like 9.5 years late on back child support. His name's Jim Bob. He definitely slept with his cousin 1.5 times. The halftime doesn't count because it was just the tip, right? Those are the type of people. Do you think it's the same thing with these fish? Like, it's that dumb one who, like, I don't know, like tried to like eat a duck and then that duck got stuck in its mouth and they're like, oh shit, Billy Bass doing dumb shit again.
But this is why this is great is because imagine being a fish and biting a lure and getting yanked up into space.
Yeah.
And then getting fondled.
Yeah.
And then get put in a fucking live well.
Yeah.
Dude, that's the exact same thing that happens to abductees. They get yanked
Oh, what happens if
ground
aliens are
into
just
the air.
fishing?
Dude, aliens are just fishing for fucking humans.
And actually, the more I think about it too, kayakers have it worse. Like those fish, if they get caught by a kayaker, yes, you're going to get thrown back, but you're going to get slapped. You're going to get touched a whole bunch, laid out on a board. Yeah, and then they're going to take pictures of you like a bunch of fucking weirdos, right? And then throw you in. So I bet you those fish don't even tell their buddies. I bet you they're fucking embarrassed.
Hey, gonna add you to my collection.
Right? Shh, I just want to take your picture.
And the great thing, if you have a fish that's acting the fool on your board, usually if you put their thumb on their butthole, they'll calm down. Like if you squeeze their
Same
anus,
thing with people.
Dude,
Same thing with people.
Alex, this is a couple episodes, 2 or 3 episodes ago, I told you it was the greatest addition you ever had to this podcast. I can't remember what it was.
I think,
but now this is the greatest thing. You know what? This is the greatest contribution you've ever had to the fishing podcast world.
Thank you. It's on if fish are fucking weird, if they're the weirdos that get abducted like humans.
This needs to be a whole ass episode where we bring people on here and talk about alien abductions and catching fish and releasing them and compare the two, how similar they are. And Alex, you said it best. Aliens are just fucking fishing for humans.
They're just fishing for humans.
Did the humans ever get tortured, I wonder?
Yes, they've been tortured, probed. Some of them have had
and those
sex.
are like Texas bass.
Like there's
the Texas bass, because they do the big bass program, right? So you get caught down there and you're a big one. They take you in and they squeeze, share lunker. They squeeze your eggs and sperm out. The aliens do the same thing with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why when I got abducted, they said, nah, dude, we got enough short people. And they sent my ass right back. They didn't even measure me. I didn't even get put on the fucking board. They knew I wasn't a keeper to begin with.
Alex was at 11 3/4 incher, so they just threw
they tried to shake me off halfway through the fucking spaceship.
Nope. He's 1 1/4 pounds. We're not keeping him.
Set him down.
He's gone. Throw it, bitch.
Exactly.
Back.
Get him out of here.
They throw you back and you do 2 flips and then hit the water and then. Oh, this is awesome. I never thought about that. Alex, this is fucking phenomenal. This is a whole new episode.
Well, because you know how we talk about fish, about almost like how they're like, I mean, they're animals, right? But how a lot of people talk, they're like, they're ambush predators, they're this, they're that. But then they also talk about how they're communal and all this other stuff. Like, there's got to be something where, like, because you know, like when a fish really gets jacked and they got that like sore on their mouth, like you can tell a fish got caught like a week beforehand because they've got like holes and shit. The other fish got to see that
big one all the way up the. Just ripped all that liner out.
Or the coal tag where they shoot the coal tag off or something.
Put your thumb all the way through his lip. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so
retreads.
again, their buddies got to be like, "Yo, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why do you have so many holes in your face?
And
Is
they're
this just a
"Let me
phase?"
tell you. Let me tell you the story. And he tells the story, and then the other fish leave, and like, this motherfucker's crazy. This
You know
fish is
what?
talking about he got pulled into the air.
I think I figured it out. This is why the fish move away out of the shallows into the deep end after the spawn. Because during the spawn, they're all up there. Now they got to hear Crazy Jim's fucking story about how there was this dangly thing that looked like he thought it was just a goose turd. Little did he know that there was a hook at the bottom of that thing, and that these humans call it a Ned rig. And he got caught, and they're like, "Fuck that! We're going offshore. We're gonna go to school on some hump offshore. This guy's fucking weird, and he can't swim all the way out there. He's got a fucked up fin." From some guy named Alex who was trying to get him on a fucking catch board, and he flopped all over the place and sprained that thing. That's it. So all the fish that you catch shallow are degenerate dirtbags of the fish world.
That alien abducted fish swims down the bank, telling all his friends, "Look out!
Exactly.
They're coming!" everybody leaves.
Well, think about it. An alien ship, a boat,
A kayak, a boat. Yeah.
it's a big cloud
Big
coming
shadow
over.
just
The shadow. Dude,
blocks
this
the
is
whole
exactly
sky.
what's fucking happening. I don't believe in aliens, but after this conversation right now, I really feel like people are seriously getting abducted because they're dumb enough to go for the bait and getting caught just like the fish.
What do you think they use? Like, all right, so we're saying it's a bait.
Lights.
You think it's lights?
It's always
I think
the lights.
I think that it's
It's always
4
the light.
a.m.
Deer in
and
the
it's a bush light in the hands of a hologram of a large lady named Justina, who's wearing Daisy Dukes and a Def Leppard tube top, who's like, "Come on, baby, let's head to the woods," and that's the bait. I think that's the bait.
That's better than lights.
It's pretty good bait.
Yeah. It's a pretty good bait. Listen, they say if you want to
Hey,
catch a
like
big
Justin's
one,
from Virginia.
it's
Justin's
the
from
Senko.
Virginia. He's like, shit, yeah, I'd bite that. I'd eat that shit. Give me Justina.
it's like a combination between a Senko and a swim bait because, you know, in swim bait fishing, you want to be lifelike. So this thing is lifelike. Like she's got 4 C-section scars. I don't know why there's 4, but there's 4 separate ones, right? These aliens put in the work. That's how you get caught. They put in the work. What would we name that bait? But yeah, the Justina. Son of Hey, baby, our name's almost the same. We could be kin. Let's go in the woods.
Justin, I hope you're not still working for the same company you're working for because if they hear this shit, they're going to put out a Justina swim bait next year, and it's probably going to win ICAST.
That would be awesome. I would hope they would give me a small cut of that. Royalties. Can I demand royalties on the Justina swim bait?
Yeah, and then Alex and I don't get shit like everything else with this podcast.
Makes sense.
No, we got to split it 3 ways.
Yeah.
So what are you, what are you
dude,
doing now
there's
for work?
enough room with Justina. She can definitely take 3. Don't you worry. Don't you worry.
Yeah,
God gifted
she would
her
love
3 hands and a bottom part for a reason.
and a box turtle.
And a box turtle.
So, Justin, when we last talked, you were working for a bait company. You're doing a couple different things. What are you up to nowadays, work-wise? Are you still in the fishing industry?
Sort of. That's what I was trying to do, and I guess I'm working retail for company Rock Outdoors. They're based out of Lexington, North Carolina.
Yep.
Another store in Winston-Salem, and they opened one up near me at Smith Mountain Lake. So I've been there for a little over 6 months now.
Okay.
Trying to sell kayaks and
because
cool.
fishing tackle.
You were with who were you working with before 2 years ago? I mean, it's been.
Well, I wasn't. You thinking of missile baits?
Yeah. Well, we talked about missile baits a lot that episode.
I wasn't.
You were staff,
technically
right?
employed. No.
Yeah. Well, no,
I
I mean,
promoting.
Yeah. You were pro staff for them, right?
Yeah, and I still like those guys.
They're great.
They give me some cool opportunities. It's good baits. I like the fact that it's made in the U.S. and they're like 15 minutes away. I mean, I grew up watching Elites and watching John. So
yeah, John's amazing. And listen, John, If you're listening, you can come help out. You did D bombs. Let's make some J bombs, and by that I mean Justina bombs, not Justin bombs. We can
Justina
All right,
Largen
I got to
swim date.
thinking more about this. Hold on.
Oh, that's
So
a
we're
good
gonna go
name,
back.
Justina
We're gonna go back to
Largen
the
swim.
hologram. They're gonna mess it up, the aliens, because it's gonna have everything I said, but when she turns around, it's gonna have Bailey's ass on the back of it.
Oh my god! If the aliens made a Justina with a Bailey butt,
But
I'd
see,
probably eat
that's
that.
Listen, missile baits. This is what you do. We do a normal swim bait, the Justina, but when you need that extra wiggle, you put that B bomb on the back, and that's that Bailey butt bomb, and it's just like an attachment. You attach just the ass cheeks to the back of the swim bait.
It's the
put a little hitchhiker on the back, and then
Exactly.
the Justina Triple B Bailey bait bomb. Poor
Listen,
Bailey.
we're giving out way too many good ideas here.
Yeah, right, bitch. Ain't nobody gonna make no fucking Bailey bait bomb.
They haven't made the long Smallie yet. We still got Hey, do you think missile baits will make the long Smallie for us?
Smallie.
Yeah, so
what's
we're
it imitating?
Yeah, so one, there's everybody knows smallmouth love topwater, right? And there's a huge kind of innovation, the Ned rig started it. Now everybody's doing BFS too, right? So we want a micro topwater Smallie bait, but it has to look like Paul's dick
and balls.
Dick and balls. So so instead of using it's not going to be a prop style, it's going to be a bell style. So as it moves through the water, the balls will just kind of jingle. And but it's going to be micro. Like we're talking tiny grasshopper.
Like a buzz bait, the buzz bait with the little clacker on it. Tick,
exactly.
Tick,
Yep. Exactly. But we're
micro,
talking
a
micro
buzz bait. Hey,
like that.
If I need, if somebody
that
wants
big.
to make that
micro,
if somebody wants to make that, I will come and we can pour a mold. I will even shave for it, unless
Cruz, if you want to come over to North Carolina and make a mold of his wiener, we'll sell you all the patents we have to missile baits right now.
You know what? I'm not going to shave because I think the furries on it are like
new
little ball bait that people are making now. With
the fuzzy dice.
Yeah.
And it can be the fuzzy long Smallie. And
it's two separate SKUs. Two separate SKUs. Yeah. Absolutely.
We'll pour a fuzzy one and then I'll shave and we'll pour a clean one.
I like it. It could work.
Well, you're the man to get us in touch with missile baits. Float this idea. So,
yeah. How, Justin? How well do you think it will work? Will it work enough for you to pitch this to John Cruz next time you talk to him?
I don't know. I feel like we got to field test it first. Like we got to get the prototype.
Whoa, we got to pour that bitch first because I ain't field testing my pecker before we pour it.
Nope,
no way y'all put no treble hooks in my little pee-pee.
I have field tested this many a time, swimming around the lake face down with my wiener out. I always get a nibble, so I think it's the bait to go with.
Your hand doesn't count.
Shit. Oop, felt a nibble. Whoop, felt a nibble.
So you're working for Rock Outdoors sales. You're doing a podcast. You're doing a little bit of fishing still. Are you in a midlife crisis area where you're not sure what you're doing, or are you trying to figure it out? Okay.
Yeah. I think I've been at that point for a couple of years now.
Early 30s, right?
I just turned 40.
Yeah.
There's
no way he's early 30s, dude.
You're as old as Alex.
Look at this. I'm ancient.
Mm-hmm.
You age good. You and Alex age really good. Minus if Alex shaved his face like he did.
Oh, you said I aged good. Oh yeah, I look way younger. I was looking at some photos. The kids were like, "Look at this weird photo."
So skinny. I'm like, Alex has gained a ton of weight. And I was like,
nope, it's just the beard. It's just the beard.
It's impressive. I can't grow one like that.
Well, get kids, and then you can start growing it, but it'll be gray as fuck. You'll have high blood pressure.
Yeah, I don't have high blood pressure because I'm not a giant fat fuck.
Your wife and your wife will give you time for it. Never mind, we can't even get into that. Kids are great; they're awesome. I love my kids, but they fuck up a lot of damn sex.
Oh yeah, that's why you got to go to the local bar and find yourself a Justina.
No.
With
I'm
the
married.
Bailey
Justina costs
bomb.
way too much.
Yeah, the Bailey butt bomb, the BBB bomb.
Oh, this is what you do. You go to the bar and you find Justina. He's like, "Hey, baby,
Yes.
you ever had a Bailey butt bomb?"
And
That's your
she's
pickup
like,
line.
she just goes,
Oh,
because every Justine is a fucking alien. All right, I'm just letting you know, it's
ah.
alien bait. Alien bait.
Alex, the Kentucky people are going to give you so much shit online.
You just said they don't have internet. They can't hear the show.
Kentucky.
Part of Kentucky got hit too.
Hey, how often? What's the name
Anyway.
of your podcast, and how often do you put it out?
That's funny. It's Kayak Fishing Weekly.
Yeah.
So I've actually joked.
You put it out weekly?
No. I've joked we ought to call it kayak fishing occasionally because I don't put it out every week.
That would be the best, actually.
Or kayak fishing weekly, like change the second E to an A.
Yeah.
Completely change the meaning.
Kayak fishing
weekly-ish.
sometimes.
Kayak fishing maybe. Yeah. Yeah.
So you're supposed to be putting it out weekly, but you're getting close to it though, right?
I'm a bad host. Yeah,
Okay,
it's more like bi-weekly.
All right, that's fine.
Are you?
Listen,
you're guest driven though, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I try to, like, I don't know. It depends. I'll definitely have some shows that are like a little more relaxed. Isn't the right word. Like, I don't have a real clear, like, oh, we're going to talk about this technique, or we're going to talk about a
Laid
specific.
back
Yeah, it's just kind of we're just going to talk and see where it goes. But then I'll have some ideas. Like I had an idea for a saltwater show because I feel like I'm not very good at saltwater. I've done it a few times. And we're mostly talking bass fishing on the show. So I had this idea for I want to do saltwater, but I also wanted to have kind of the right guy. And I floated out, the idea to a couple different people, and it's, it doesn't always. I've learned that you don't always get the person or the. I'll put it this way: scheduling is a pain in the butt sometimes.
Yes.
Like I typically can get, people are cool, especially in the kayak world, and almost always I get a yes, but it's not always easy to make the schedules like line up. So that the saltwater one took a little bit of time, and that's actually one of our more recent episodes with Blake Abbey, Florida guy. Really good at. I mean, he's kind of crossed into the bass world too. He does both.
Okay.
It's the benefit of living in Florida. So
Yeah,
that
no
was a
shit,
fun
right?
one. I learned a lot in that one, kind of, and there's some similarities with redfish and trout and snook. I've yet to catch a snook though, so it was cool to hear him kind of give some tips on that, and I kind of want to expand on that too. With I want to do kind of an offshore one, the guys that are going a couple miles out and catching the the big stuff that I'm too chicken to do.
Dolphin and wahoo and shit like that.
Yeah. And I know there's guys that do it. So I do want to have that one. So I don't know. There's times where I've not done it because I can't get kind of the show that I want at that time. But it's, I don't know. I'm definitely the what's a nice way to put it? The least professional of all the guys on the network.
You're the
Those
least
guys are
serious angler.
Yeah.
Yes. The unserious, the non-serious. I don't even know how you're supposed to say that.
Yeah, well, you can't say
I'm the
so
misfit.
serious.
The
Yeah,
misfit.
The misfit toy of
See, you shouldn't have fell. You shouldn't have fell for those New York Yankee tricks. You could have been on the Bass and Brews Network, but you fell for the big old booty and all that money.
you
I
know,
know we're down here. I'm down here in the South. I could have got you all the saltwater people you'd
That's
ever
it.
wanted from Texas to North Carolina.
Yeah.
But if people are thinking about starting a podcast, I will say this. There's a few things, but one, it is the most fun you'll ever have. Doing this podcast, the reason that we went 3.5 years putting out an episode was because this shit is fun as hell. I know Justin from this podcast. We know Bailey from this podcast. We know so many other people from doing the podcast.
I know Bailey's
It is
ass
fun.
from this podcast.
Exactly. We know Bailey's hiney because of this podcast. but the shit ain't as easy when you're just watching or listening to podcasts. It ain't as easy as it looks when you're consuming the product, and especially if you're guest driven. That shit it literally is a pain in the ass. Like you said, in the kayak world, look, in the kayak world, kayak anglers always want to come on podcasts.
Yeah.
It's fairly easy. But still, you have to set that shit up. And when Alex was gone and it was just me, I was setting up a guest co-host and a guest.
Oh my God, that was so fucking long ago. Would you stop?
I'm just giving an example.
You sound like Amanda.
But
do you remember when you left us to go serve your country?
I never said that shit.
No, I said you sound like Amanda at this point.
I do. My boobs are almost as big too. But anyway, the thing is that Alex and I both get guests. When you're by yourself, like you are, Justin, you're the only one reaching out to people. And that shit is hard. So if you want to start a podcast, it's going to be great. It's going to be fun. I highly recommend it. But you have to understand, if you're going to be a guest-driven podcast, that shit is stressful as fuck. And it takes 10 times more work to be able to do that, especially when you're by yourself. So if you want to start a podcast and have guests on, make sure you get an Alex who does everything and you just show up.
Be great. Be great. Or join a network and make millions of dollars and they just have production interns that run everything for you.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean there, because it was a different vibe because when we first started the show, it was me and Bailey kind of tag teaming it. And like, he's done it so much, like it's second nature to him. I just could show up. I didn't even like, I could just sit. Bailey's just going to run the show. Yeah, he can do everything.
I'm out.
I mean, he's got his main show. I mean, he's got his 9 to 5. Like, dude works. He stays busy. So the fact that he even was helping as long as he did is commendable. But it was a rude awakening when it's like, oh yeah, now you do it. And I was like, oh wow, it's different now. Now it's like you gotta, you can't just lean on somebody else, and you gotta put in the work and kind of make it happen. And I do enjoy it. It is a lot of fun. Like I said earlier, I love to talk fishing, but it is a different vibe when you get to come on as a guest and just, you could say whatever you want. And as the host, it's kind of a different, you got to sort of steer the show a little bit and at least have
lead it.
Some vision of a plan. And like my worst fear. Like, there's some guys that are just natural, can just go and it works out great. But like my fear is that I'm going to have, and it hasn't happened yet, but I'll have somebody on and it's just like the personalities don't mesh or something. And it's just this like you ask a question, you get like a yes or a no. And then it's just, there's no actual conversation. And it's like, I don't know how, I don't know. Maybe it'll never happen, but it's like, it's like, what do you do then?
Yeah. When you're guest driven, it happens. That's when, Alex and I, we mainly pull social media content creators. We're pulling them because they're creating content. But when you get them on this side of the camera, right? It's different. And it's a podcast. It's not them creating they're not in their little world of where they can create their stuff. And so that's what works great with having that co-host, is that we can banter back. For Alex and I, our whole thing is we can banter back and forth, and people, kind of sit back and relax after the first 20, 30 minutes, hour, whatever it is. And it makes it easier to have that conversation. But I wish it does. You one-on-one, and our last call with Alex and Paul, when it's just Alex and I, we sometimes kind of get a little lulled down because Alex and I talk all the fucking time. And so what some of the excitement that we would have isn't there because we've already talked about it for the last week or the last month.
Right.
But I hadn't even considered something like that.
Starting a podcast by yourself is hard as shit.
It's tough, yeah.
And it's hard. But again, it's fun as fuck because you get to sit down and talk to people you probably never be able to talk to.
Yeah.
Because anglers love coming on podcasts because anglers love to talk about fucking fishing.
Yeah, what are
That's
we?
it.
Jersey, North Carolina, Virginia,
Yep.
like all in the same place, talking at the same time.
And
It's
Alex
fucking
and I
awesome.
have never met.
We haven't
Alex
3.5
and I have
years, never met in person.
No,
Yeah, never met in person.
Never met.
that's crazy.
This is the closest Alex and I have come to each other is this fucking podcast.
Well, see, the issue was Paul was supposed to fly up. Paul was supposed to fly up, but he was too fucking fat, and it was going to cost 2 seats. So part of the journey is he's been out there trying to get abducted, so they'll drop him back off in New Jersey after a little bit of probing, and then the other one, he's losing weight so he can finally get on a flight up here.
I want to know what state is the most likely, or what state's got the most alien abductees.
It's
I can
got to be
fucking-
Nevada.
I can fucking find that.
It's gotta
Well,
be Nevada or
151 is a
Kentucky.
steak sauce, you fat ass, or a fucking drink. You mean Area 51?
That's
He
what I
said
Area
151.
50. Well,
No,
I'm
you said-
sorry. The road that runs through my hometown is 151. So I kind of add the one there just out of habit.
He's hungry. He's hungry.
There is no steak sauce called 151. It's Heinz 57, you dumb fuck.
Oh shit, I fucked
And then
up
there's
too.
what's the other one? A1. A1.
Oh, it's A1.
A1. See, Alex combined 2 steak sauces, and it still did not equal 151. This bitch was talking about A157. All right, Alex is looking up.
I got
Alex
the
is looking-
answer.
Oh,
Arizona.
already? Nice.
Arizona.
I told you it was Arizona.
You said Nevada, dipshit.
It's the bitch. That
It's the
should
same
be one
place.
state. It should be Nevada.
Actually, you know what? I think we only have like 5 listeners in both those states. Fuck those states. You're all the same.
They do have the Grand Canyon in Arizona. That's pretty spectacular for anybody.
Yeah,
who's
but
never
other
been.
states have it too. It's not just one state.
Bailey's
Yeah,
also
but they-
got the Grand Canyon.
I served that one up to you, sir.
You serve that on a poo-poo platter.
Oh my! I'm mitochondrial farter action right now. Oh Jesus! Oh goodness! Hey,
No.
so you didn't do a lot of fishing this year on national trails. Did you do a lot like local stuff, or did you just go out and hunt, fun fish and shit like that?
I did less local stuff. It's weird. There are local trails. I think there's some more towards like Central Virginia.
Yep.
And there was one that was kind of close by, and they dissolved last. I guess last fall they kind of wrapped up that club. Vinny's Queen City guys came up and I guess ventured into Virginia this year, but
Yeah,
they
Smith
still
Mountain. Didn't they fish Smith Mountain and New? I think.
Smith Mountain knew they hit a couple other ones. I
think they
can't
had
remember.
6 tournaments up in that area.
They've got one coming up, I think, in 2 weeks, coming back to Smith Mountain Lake for what I think is the finale.
Yep. Should be.
And I wish, I think the initial Smith Mountain tournament, I was in, I forget which tournament. I was at Murray, I think. It's like they all seem to coincide with me being gone. Because prior to March, what was it? I think I did the Hobie BOS down in Florida. I did the recent one on Chick with a half day of practice and sucked. I did what was the other one? I did Murray with bass, and then I did Gunnersville with bass, and yeah, terrible with all of them. The only tournament I've fished this year that was not, just an abomination was I had a top 5 at the KBF National Championship. I think they had 100 guys, a little over 100 guys at Gunnersville. Yeah. And that one just worked out. The rest of them, bad. Demoralizingly bad.
Hey,
So I'm like,
Murray,
what is wrong with me?
Murray, that first day of Murray I did terrible. And then the second day I thought I was on something, but I missed. I didn't miss, but the fucking blind ass fucking fish in the river. I had like 10 fish miss my top water, little bitches.
We throwing a buzzbait too?
Yeah.
No, I was throwing walking
The
bait.
long
I was throwing
Smallie.
spook.
Okay.
No, it wasn't along Smallie because nobody's come down and poured a mold yet. So I was throwing.
Hey, before we get into Sue, I would like to. I want to make it clear. I want to make a redaction. To the people of Kentucky. I didn't realize how many listeners we have in Kentucky. I apologize. I just found out that 3% of our listenership comes from the great state of Kentucky, while only 1% of our listenership comes from the state of New Jersey. So, people of Kentucky, I'm sorry. My bad. Also, the people of Arizona, you make up 1.5%. That's still more than the state I'm in. I apologize, Arizona. Nevada, Nevada, you can go fuck yourself. We got like 4 people in Nevada. I was right. Go fuck yourself. What did you say, Paul?
That means every single person that fishes in Nevada listens to the fucking show then.
Yeah, probably. You say West Virginia?
Yeah.
4 people because they don't know how to work a phone. So,
there we go. So Justine is from West Virginia.
Yep.
At the beginning of this podcast, when Alex was talking shit about Kentucky, y'all forget about that and just replace Kentucky with West Virginia.
And then, to be clear, this year I really had a goal that we were going to hit every state. Bass and Brews has been listening to in 49 states.
What's the only state?
Yeah.
Fuck you, Alaska. Fuck you.
What?
Just
Nobody
just
in
because you
Alaska?
can't. Yeah, because they can't get podcasts in their igloos, you motherfuckers. Listen to the goddamn podcasts.
Well, they also don't know how to pronounce salmon, so.
It's true.
I can't believe Alaska's not on here.
I think they suck at fishing. It's the only explanation.
Yeah, but
they're really good. They're
really
listening to weird podcasts.
They're really good at catching whales.
Fucking whales. Yeah. Sorry, that was totally derailment. Yeah, we're even listening to.
Who's number 1, Alex?
We're even listened to in Guam and Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. Yes.
Wow, U.S. territories, but not all the states.
We're missing
Alaska
one fucking state.
Slacking.
Number 1 is Texas. Number 2 is California. Number 3 is North Carolina. Number 4 is Michigan. And rounding out the top 5 is the great state of Tennessee.
What?
Tennessee.
Michigan is 4th?
Yeah.
Oh.
So
you Michigan people have no life.
But I'd like to add on to the list of the worst states, and it's Alaska, because you haven't fucking heard us. Wyoming, because it says we had 1 listen in Wyoming for the whole year.
Somebody was traveling and signed on to the Hampton Inn.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to Alaska, and I'm going to tune in from Alaska, and we're going to hit all 50 states.
Yes.
So when you do that, we got to record that episode too, so you can be our first Alaskan listener.
Listen, and somebody has to be trolling because somehow we've hit every province in Canada, even like the Inuit territory, the Northwest territory, like those ones way up in the Arctic. There's listens out of there, but Alaska doesn't listen.
Just
get out of here.
Justin, you need to have Bailey go look at your listenership, and if you have somebody from Alaska, y'all need to track them down.
Yeah,
hook
that up. Yeah. Also, again, disappointed. Every province in the country of Australia, we have listens in, but not every state in the United States.
The Aussies are listening, but the Americans aren't. This is bullshit.
England, Ireland, Wales. Scotland can go fuck itself because they're not listening, but all those other ones are.
Well,
we've even got listens.
Who's Two Bruvs fishing? Where
Two Bruvs is out of no, they're out of Australia. You're gonna lose all of our Australia. Yes, he is.
Two Bruvs is not. They're up in.
No, they're not. Anyways,
they're up in.
They sound kind of similar.
Listen, I want to make it. I did an apology. I apologize, Kentucky. Then I revert that back into a big fuck you to the last state. The last frontier can go fuck itself.
They don't even have any bass, do they?
No, it's so what's really funny is they have a lot of salmon. So I know people who are stationed in trout, salmon, they do have pike. And then, a lot of it's salt water, right? But even when you go inland, they have what's called like Arctic grayling, which are amazing. They're so much fun, super fun to catch, especially on a fly rod. They are kind of tiny.
Weird fin.
The fin is giant on it. Yeah, it's really cool. But friends of mine were stationed in Juneau.
Outdoor Boys on YouTube, he catches grayling and
does he
cooks them on a rock.
So they were stationed in Juneau, and they were fishing for trout. There's a big lake, Glacier Lake, right there, and they hooked into a fucking largemouth in this fucking.
No.
So they took it right to the fucking green suits, right? Like right to the conservation officers, and they had to fucking like dregs. There was like a manhunt for this shit because it is so invasive and will fuck up the trout population up there so bad that it was like a huge fucking deal that somebody found a largemouth trout up there.
So in middle school, we were learning all the states and capitals.
Okay.
And do you know how they taught us the capital in the state of Alaska?
How?
Do you know the state or the capital of Alaska?
Yeah, it's Juneau. No, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. No, it's Wasilla, actually.
No, it's not. It's Juneau.
Is it?
Alaska.
Oh, is it Juneau? That is.
Oh, like, do you know Alaska?
Do you
Oh,
know?
that's so awful.
Do you
That's
know?
awful.
That's bad.
Do you know the capital of
Oh,
Alaska?
it is Juneau. It is Juneau.
No.
Why was I thinking Wasilla?
Shut up, motherfucker. I'm trying to teach people how to remember the capital of Alaska. Do you know? Alex, ask me. Do you know the capital
Juneau.
of Alaska?
Juneau.
No, you ask me.
Juneau.
You.
Do you, I
Justin,
got to ask you.
Who's on first?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I messed it up. Sorry, Paul. Paul, hey, Paul, by any chance, do you know the capital of North Dakota?
Juneau, Alaska. Hey-oh.
Such a fucking idiot.
Look. This is how we learned shit in South Carolina in middle school, bitches.
I think they did that everywhere.
I think so too.
They had to.
I
because
suspect.
ain't nobody in South Carolina make that shit up. They ain't got enough teeth for that.
Mm-mm. I was educated in North Carolina public school system. So, I grew up in Lincolnton, and we lived there till I was 9, I think.
Oh, that's not far from me, Lincolnton.
It used to
Well,
be
he doesn't
nothing.
live there anymore.
No,
Well, look, he didn't know a fucking thing about education, but I bet you knew all the shit about farming. I bet you was driving tractors at 8 years old.
we lived in the town. No, I wish. It'd be fun driving a tractor.
What a
sometimes,
fail. What a
I know. I'm just a disappointment.
Justin,
Not the first time. It
sometimes-
won't be the last time.
Justin, nobody who knows you is listening to this podcast. Sometimes you just gotta lie and be like, "Fuck yeah, I was driving a tractor when I was 5 years old."
You're
No.
right. I
No,
was
I
just
love
kidding.
that. That was the best. Paul set it all up for a softball, and Justin hits it with, "Nah, I lived in the town."
That's right. I
But
just bunted.
downtown Lincolnton has got about 100 people in it too, so it really wasn't a town.
Mm-mm. No, we were like 1 block over from the main street too. The parade didn't take very long. I mean, did not take long.
Hey,
It's like a block.
We had a town. So I lived in McBee, and the town up from us was Patrick. And the town of Patrick was smaller than McBee, but they had the Pine Straw Festival. And every year there was a Pine Straw Queen.
Was their name Justina by any chance?
I don't know. The name's changed every year because it's a new person. So
I know it was a joke. You fucked it up too. You and Justin should be on a podcast together. Jesus, you
hey,
both
Justin,
miss
bring
the
me on
layups.
your bring me on your podcast
Don't.
as a guest, and then we won't have to talk about all this bullshit. We can actually talk about fishing.
Yeah, I like it. I like
Nope,
it.
that's a nope. I saw it on his face. That's a big
Whoa,
nope.
I just won our Clash of Titans a few weeks ago. I'm a good angler.
I like it. We can talk about that. I actually try to cover it. I don't do a very good job of it, but I try to. We do a segment, Kings of the Week, and sometimes every once in a while there's a queen too. But normally it's Kings and Queens of the Week.
Right.
But it's just it sounds so, just to say King and Queen of the Week. It's just it's a
Shit,
mouthful.
I'll be
So
a
it's
queen.
Kings of the Week.
I'll be a
Kings of
You-
the
You
week.
could be. You would. Yeah, we could do that. But
Nope,
like
not gonna happen.
I try to like all it is a little segment where I try to highlight somebody like in the world of fishing, like kayak fishing specifically.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a content creator, but I try to highlight guys that have done something cool in like a local tournament or stories that maybe not everybody knows.
That's cool as
And-
shit.
Not
I
that the
got-
fishing world is like this and the kayak world is
Yeah.
this
Right.
massive thing to begin with, but you know, Russ wins a lot, Ewing wins a lot. I try to get they get featured some, but I try to like find guys that did something cool that maybe other people don't know about.
We got a guest for you. 100% big inches. Will Big Inches.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You got to have him on your podcast to do a king
He hit over 100 inches. How many times this year? Like 3 or 4?
This year,
or was it last year that he hit 3 or 4?
Over the last 2 years, he's a North Carolina angler, so he's fishing the Raleigh to Greensboro area, and he's had 6 or 7 bags over 100 inches in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah, dude's a hammer. And what's crazy is, if I remember right, he's a soulless ginger, and he was still catching fish.
Yes. He's a short day walker.
Yeah.
Like if he doesn't put sunscreen on when he goes to bed at night, he wakes up burnt from the ambient light from when the sun comes up.
The moonlight burns him.
He's going to listen to the podcast too, and he knows it. But you need to get.
Yeah, he would actually be good. He'd be a good little.
He's not going to come on now.
No, he will. I'll make him. He will.
It'll be dark. He'll have sunglasses on. He'll look like Michael Jackson back in the days. He'll have like the full sheet over his head to block out the lights.
Minus the black long hair and red and short.
Yeah.
It'll look like one of those witness protection videos where it's just
blurred out.
It's a robot voice.
He is the prime
he's
case.
He's going to be blurred out because the screen on his computer will make him start to smoke.
He's a prime example of the Lord giveth, the Lord taketh. That man can fish, but man, he did not get good genetics. He is uglier than sin, and but he fishes real good. So props to Will. I actually Will. I've got your baits right next to me that are going out in the mail tomorrow. So
this is a fuck ton of work, Justin. But that's a hell of a good idea.
It is
to find those little.
It's a lot of work, though.
And that means you have to actually go look through all the tournaments every fucking week. Yeah. But if you build a network of local anglers that can say, "Hey, man, this guy's got to be on." Will's been on podcast. He's been on one main episode, but he's been on an episode or two before with some other people, just local stuff that I did when Alex was gone. But he's a great guest. But he fits what you're talking about perfectly.
He does.
Because he just catches fucking fish.
Mondo, giant
you're talking
fish.
About 100 inches, and second place will have 80. I mean, but that's what I'm saying is he's catching fish and doing beat downs like that. He'd be a good
it's awesome.
Or something like that.
Cool. Yeah, because we've had some guys that are maybe lesser known in the national space, but one of the more fun episodes that I did was with Brandon Yoder, and that actually kind of like spawned a segment that I've been trying to do, where I do like tip videos. Like we were talking about budget kayaking, like how to basically get into it on the cheap, like DIY hacks and stuff like that. And I thought it was great. It was a really popular episode. And then I turned it into like trying to give a different like money saving tip every week.
Yeah.
And not everyone's great. They're coming from me, but
that's the thing.
No, that's awesome, dude. Yeah. Hey, it's always good. Everybody loves a good segment on a show. Like they do. It's good. I like that. I wish like our ideas were to play Marry, Fuck, Kill, whether it was aliens, Bigfoot, and Loch Ness. Like your idea sounds a lot better.
I forget what Bailey calls it. It's like call.
What's the word though?
It's weak. It's
I was on a podcast
one that's
with
a
him.
Complete ripoff of Bass and Brews, and I'm already in litigation against him for that. He stole that from us. Thank you very much.
Catch, call, leave it home or something.
Yeah.
Because I was on a podcast.
Oh, box. It's box.
Yeah,
box. Fish box or
yeah.
Damn.
Cool. It's catch,
but
call,
there's like
box. Yeah.
Fish box. I can't remember.
Well, I was on an episode with him, and I had been drinking a little bit before I came on.
No.
It was a little bit last minute, and I kept asking what we were doing. Because my mind always went to Marry, Fuck, Kill.
Yeah.
That's not like that wasn't it, but yeah, it was. I can't remember who else was on there. Maybe Rudd was on. I don't know, but he asked me on that episode. And,
Listen, if anybody is
one
coming
of them was
over,
Taylor Swift, and I love Taylor Swift. And nobody
oh,
else
that's
did.
the one where you said she's a bony bitch, and then
No,
you got
I
nothing to
said she looked
shake.
like a spook. And Bailey, the next day, Bailey had a fucking spook.
Yep. Yep.
But she does. She's shaped like a spook. I mean, look, Taylor Swift makes some good music. She's a pretty girl, but she ain't got no baby booty.
Listen, I'll tag Serious Angler like 5 times in this, but if you guys like Justin and you like the Serious Angler Network and you think that Bailey is this upstanding, just real nice boy, listen, go listen to some episodes where he's been drinking on ours. He's a dirty man. He's a dirty man who is stealing all the talent in the fishing podcast realm. He's literally undercutting us independent little guys, okay? You know what? He just texted me and he goes, Walmart. Hey, yeah, he is. He's the wall. It's fucking Bailey Mart. It's Bailey Mart. He just texted me and he goes, hey, Justin just told me you have no listeners in Alaska. Way to go, fucking loser. And he showed me his statistics that there's more people that listen to Serious Angler in Alaska than there are in Alaska. So I don't know how that fucking works, but yeah. The episode where we had him rigging up on his, like, on site with his other buddies was one of the funniest fucking episodes. Yeah, there's like the one dude with like 12 divorces who like came in and started talking. Bailey was on like... Bailey had like 5 twisted tees. Yeah, he had like 5 twisted tees, was fully lubricated by the end of it.
Yeah, go Astroglide. We haven't talked about Astroglide in a while.
We haven't. Hey, somebody's looking for you, Paul.
Where?
Oh, wait, shit. Now it's just me. Covering time, calls, doing dad stuff. Justin had to pee. So I'm just covering time. What's he grabbing now? What do you think he's grabbing, folks? If you guys aren't watching, make sure to check us out on YouTube if you want. Oh, we kind of cut through. This must be riveting for you guys. This is kind of what we were talking about before. Like, I'm so happy that I got Paul because these weird situations would come up and I'd have to cover it. And everybody's kind of learned over the years that I'm awful at it. So, oh, he can't fix it. Oh, no, he's failing at it. He's failing, folks. What's he doing? He's putting something in his shirt now? This has got to be the best part for you guys, right? I know I already said that. He said he doesn't know. All right. He doesn't know, folks. I love Paul trying to father in the middle of this. This is my favorite. But you have to. You have to.
Sorry, my daughter is going to a football game this weekend, and I had a buddy send me a DJI Pocket 3 camera.
Okay.
That he tested and gave it to me. Anyway,
they don't work.
It came with this nice little Bluetooth microphone, and she's like,
yep.
I'm going to vlog at the football game this weekend. I'm so great. She said, can I have this microphone? I'm like, no, you can't. You can't have
As he dropped it.
As he dropped it on the floor. But I do have another Bluetooth microphone. Okay. And so I told her she could have that. And for some reason, she wants to try it at 9:30 at night.
That's perfect. Hey, Justin, you missed it. You went up to go pee, and then Paul had to do some dad stuff. So as we talked about how sometimes it gets weird. So then it was just me covering. And it was really bad.
Bad time.
Yeah, no, you're good. Hey, we're getting towards the end of the show. I know you just went pee-pee, but yeah, we're towards the end. Anything you want to shout out before we kind of sign off here?
No, I appreciate the chance to come on. And yeah, if guys want to follow me, they can follow me over at Instagram at Justin__Largen. 2 underscores because apparently there's some other guy that stole the one.
What?
1 underscore.
There's another Justin Largen out there.
Apparently, it's an imposter.
It's me.
I think so.
I have a bunch of anglers.coms, so I know the pettiness.
Listen, that's how we're gonna get rich. All right, everybody, make sure you go check them out. I mean, if you can, check them out, but try not to give Bailey Mart all your hard-earned money and listening time. Justin, hang out for a minute. We'll catch all you dirtbags later. Have a good one.
Hello.
Know the brink's coming. Know the